Claudia Sheinbaum says her country is ready for the potential mass deportations of migrants from the United States. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump says deportations will happen once he's in office. Sheinbaum says Mexico is strengthening the network of Mexican consulates in the U.S. to better protect the migrants at risk of deportation. In the coming days, Sheinbaum and her cabinet will review the bilateral issues that need to be addressed with Trump's team, including immigration, security, and trade. A powerful storm moving through northern California has took out trees and damaged homes while dropping heavy snow and record amounts of rain. There were reports of over 20,000 power outages in California on Thursday. San Francisco's airport has cancelled scores of flights. Despite the chaos, ski resorts celebrated record snowfalls, signaling an early start to the ski season. Maggie Asherball is a marketing manager at Sugar Bowl Resort.
This is actually our earliest opening of the resort since 2004. We've had great conditions, lots of natural snow, and some great effort from our snow agents.
The storm reached the status of a bomb cyclone, which occurs when a cyclone intensifies rapidly. Now it's 28 minutes past the hour. Checking the forecast for the day. Beijing is going to rain on Friday evening. Saturday will see cloudy skies with a high of 9. Nanchang is 11 tonight, tomorrow cloudy with a high of 18. Elsewhere in Asia, Islamabad is 11 this evening. Saturday will see sunny skies with a high of 21. Vientiane is 19 overnight, tomorrow will see sunny skies with a high of 31. Phnom Penh is 26 overnight, tomorrow sunny and 33. In Africa, Nairobi will see cloudy skies with a high of 26 on Saturday. Kampala is 18 overnight, tomorrow will see cloudy skies with a high of 26. Juba is 24 tonight, tomorrow sunny and 33 degrees Celsius. Now it's time for a short break. So far this hour, China has announced some measures to further boost the growth of its foreign trade. Russia and Ukraine have accused each other of escalation in the conflict. Kelly with you. Stay with here on the Beijing Hour.
Not he who fights 100 battles and wins every one of them. The best military strategy does not lead to the desiccation of the enemy's capital city. Decoding the art of war will help you understand why there's no art in war and how Sun Tzu stayed undefeatable using the science of war with fun stories and insightful breakdown of famous battles. Find Decoding the Art of War wherever you listen.
Home.
I love you, Betty.
Love.
Remember?
Thank you.
Fate.
Take care.
What do they truly mean? Embark on a century-long journey with CGTN Radio's latest offering. Echoes of Korea, a gripping audio drama series inspired by real-life tales.
Anyone heard of a Godasha?
From unexpected encounters to heartfelt reunions, immerse yourself in a narrative of love, peace, and enduring friendship.
He's a piece of my lost childhood.
Listen to Echoes of on radio.cgtn.com and all major podcast platforms.
Being on.
Examining the events that impact and shape China and the rest of the world. This is the Beijing Hour, 1 hour of news and information brought to you every weekday. Now here's your host.
Hello on this Friday, still to come. In business, the World Internet Conference wraps up its summit Eastern first episode of a 9-part special report that delves into China's journey toward sustainable development. To contact us, you can email radio@cgtn.com or follow our X account, formerly Twitter, @CGTN Radio. But first, checking today's headline news. Chinese President Xi Jinping has met the Crown Prince of Morocco. President Xi said China supports Morocco's efforts to safeguard national stability, and the two sides should firmly support each other on issues concerning their core interests. The two countries strengthen Belt and Road cooperation and expand cultural exchanges. The meeting in Casablanca came as the Chinese president was heading home after wrapping up a visit to Brazil. Vice Minister Wang Shouwen of the Chinese Commerce Ministry says Beijing is ready to expand cooperation and differences with Washington. The official, who is also China's international trade representative, made the comment in response to a question about a potential 60% tariffs to be imposed by U.S. President-elect Donald Trump. Wang said China will be able to resolve and resist the impact of external shocks. He warned that tariffs will lead to inflation will end up paying. The Chinese ambassador to the UK says the economic partnership has always been a ballast and a propeller for bilateral relations. Speaking at the 7th China-UK Economic and Trade Forum, Zheng Zewang said the annual bilateral trade has surpassed £110 billion, or about $140 billion, with two-way investment reaching over £130 billion. Following recent talks between President Xi Jinping and UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer at the G20 summit, Zheng urged both nations to enhance collaboration in areas such as clean energy, financial services and tourism. British Investment Minister Poppy Gustafson also stressed the importance of a constructive dialogue between China and the UK. A Russian envoy has warned that Ukraine's use of foreign missiles can bring a collision after Kiev's Western allies greenlit its use of long-distance missiles to strike inside Russia this week. Russian ambassador to the UK, Andrei Kalin, says the American and British governments have escalated the situation despite several warnings from Moscow.
In spite of these warnings, the U.S. administration, supported by France and the UK, has made a deliberate decision to make these strikes, which seriously escalates the situation, and it can bring a collision between the nuclear powers. I can say easily that we have plenty of mercenaries from different countries that are fighting right now on the side of Ukraine.
Russia's military says it has shot down two British-made Storm Shadow missiles, implying Britain is now directly involved in the war. Russian President Vladimir Putin says the Kremlin fired a new intermediate-range ballistic missile at Ukraine on Thursday in response to Kiev's use of the missiles. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says a Russian strike on the central city of Dnipro with a new type of missile is a clear and severe escalation. This comes after Kiev launched US and British-made missiles into Russia. A UN spokesperson says the United Nations respects the work and independence of the International Criminal Court after the ICC issued arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and a Hamas military leader. Stefan Dujarric says the 44,000 people killed in Gaza is another grim and devastating milestone.
We have continuously and we will continue to condemn the loss of civilian lives that we've seen in Gaza, continue to call for the respect of international law, international humanitarian law, for the need of an immediate ceasefire and for the immediate and unconditional release of all hostages, and of course, as well for greater humanitarian access, as we've been talking about every day.
According to the Health Ministry in Gaza, the conflict has wounded over 104,000 people. Negotiators at COP29 in Baku are racing to agree on new funding before the UN conference ends on Friday. Developing nations are advocating for $1.3 trillion annually by 2030, with at least $500 billion coming from developed countries. This is more than the current $100 billion yearly commitment from wealthy nations. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has called for a surge in finance as talks are near their conclusion. Chinese video game Blacksmith Wukong has won the Ultimate Game of the Year award at the Golden Joystick Awards, one of the oldest and biggest public voted gaming accolades. Over 12 million fans have voted to crown their favorite games, companies and personalities at the 42nd edition of the awards. The 12th National Traditional Games of Ethnic Minorities has kicked off in southern China. The event in Sanya has attracted 10,000 athletes representing the country's 56 ethnic groups. They will compete in nearly 140 events across 17 sports, in addition to 3 demonstration sports. Certain events, such as equestrian competitions, have already taken place in the northwestern region of Xinjiang. This is Tianlu in the Chinese capital. Coming up in business, the World Internet Conference wraps up its summit, Eastern China.
Ever wondered what's actually going on in Africa through the perspective of an African? How are things really going between China and Africa? What's the narrative of this relationship? Well, get a perspective with China-Africa Talk. Hear from African diplomats, entrepreneurs, academics, Chinese natives, and more. Get on our wavelength every week to find out what's real with China-Africa Talk. Find us on your favorite podcast. We'll see you there.
37 minutes past the hour. Turning to business, here's Wang Zihan.
Thank you, Tianlu. Stocks on the Chinese mainland have finished the week with a bit of a decline. Shares in the photovoltaic, clinical research and security sector led the losses, while shares in the internet e-commerce sector rose against the trend. Timothy Pope has details.
Investors seem to be returning to the sidelines as they wait for some tangible results from the government's measures to reflate the economy. The Shanghai Composite Index down 3%, shedding more than 100 points. The Shenzhen component was down 3.5%. Volumes were down too, and what that suggests is that the trade was all one way. It was all selling. These falls also put the Shanghai Composite into negative territory for the month so far. And earnings estimates are telling us that, well, it could be a while before we see government stimulus efforts reflected in corporate results. Consumer heavyweights were a major drag. The liquor maker Guizhou Matai was down 2.4%. On the bright side, though, China's second biggest chip maker, Hua Hong Semiconductor, did pretty well. At least initially, it was up more than 10% at one stage. That was on news that it's partnering with European counterpart ST Microelectronics. Hua Hong's going to be producing chips for ST Micro in China by the end of next year as part of that agreement. But Hua Hong shares weren't immune from the negative sentiment, paired those gains by the end of the session and ended up only 0.4% higher.
That was Timothy Pope reporting. Elsewhere, the Hong Kong stock market also ended lower for the day. The housing index was down nearly 1.9%. In Japan, Tokyo stocks closed higher on Friday, led by solid gains in heavyweight semiconductor-related shares, following rises on Wall Street overnight. The Nikkei added nearly 0.7%. The World Internet Conference has wrapped up its Wuzhen Summit in Eastern China. Developing a people-centered approach to artificial intelligence topped the agenda, along with efforts to transform business and society through digital tech. Cao Bing takes a look.
The 11th World Internet Conference Wuzhen Summit is finally coming to an end, and this year it was packed with amazing moments. The Wuzhen Summit continues to serve as a platform bringing together CEOs of top tech companies, global officials, business leaders, as well as scholars and experts. This time, participants shared insights and perspectives across more than 24 sub-forums. Discussions span diverse topics, including the digital economy, cybersecurity, open source ecosystem development, data governance, AI innovation and governance, as well as youth and the digital future. Over the past days, attendees introduced their achievements and outlined their visions for the future. At the Light of Internet Expo, visitors are able to see some of the coolest and cutting-edge technologies from China and also from all around the world. These are not only on display boards or on screens, but hands-on devices ready for people to give it a try, such as a humanoid robot and AI diagnostic tool. Many exhibitors also appreciated China's efforts to create a safer online space, recognizing its importance as a foundation for sustainable business growth. After 11 years, the Wuzhen World Internet Conference is still going strong, pushing for digital innovation to shape the future for business, trade, life.
That was Cao Bing reporting. China says it will make more efforts to advance AI development for small and medium-sized enterprises. The Industry and Information Technology Minister has called for the enterprises to step up investment in research and development, focus on computing power, models and data, and consolidate the base of key technologies. Jin Zhonglong also called for accelerating the development of smart equipment, promoting the replacement of home appliances and mobile phones, and creating intelligent software applications. The minister urged enhanced international cooperation and introducing advanced technologies and top talents. They also said the ministry will provide high-level services for AI enterprises, such as financial support. This year's World Vocational and Technical Education Development Conference has concluded in the northern city of Beijing. The conference created a vocational education cooperation organization consisting of nearly 90 institutions from over 40 countries and regions. B-Run reports.
Seeing the innovation empowers the future. Skills enlighten new life. The event witnessed the launching of International Vocational Education League and included sessions covering topics like high-skilled workforce development, academic innovation, and lifelong learning, highlighting the importance of young people's personal learning. The vocational college skills competition has also been upgraded to an international level. The global competition, featuring over 29,000 participants from 74 countries, held competitions in 42 categories of occupations and technology and new energy vehicles.
It's very vibrant. It's a very vital issue for the modern economy. New technologies, healthcare, a lot of them are non-university qualifications, but really critical. So for those school leaders, there's a lot of opportunities. We have found that the joint programs with Australian providers have been very popular, but also more broadly, it's really to help enlighten, empowering knowledge.
According to China's Ministry of Education, the country has established the world's largest vocational training system with over 11,000 institutes offering students a variety of courses. And now the vocational education system produces over 70% of new workers in key industries in this country, such as advanced manufacturing and modern services. And now this source of expertise is going beyond China's borders, as the country's vocational education system and partnerships expanding with Central Asia, ASEAN, Africa, and Europe.
Those B-Run reporting. An international low-altitude economy development conference has kicked off in the western Chinese city of Xi'an. The conference provides a platform for trade, technology, and communication among industry professionals. Over 400 exhibitors are showcasing new products and cutting-edge technologies, including drones, flying cars, light aircraft, and other airships. The event also features forums and seminars led by industry experts and executives from leading domestic enterprises to discuss the future of the low-altitude economy. And finally, official data shows retail sales of passenger cars in China rose 11.3% in October. The sales volume exceeded 2.2 million, boosted by the week-long National Day holiday and policies including the National Trade-In Program. Among them, sales of new energy vehicles surged to nearly 1.2 million units.
Thank you very much. That was Wang Zihang with Business. You're listening to the Beijing Hour. Coming up next, our special report, Greener China, A Journey to 2060.
Sideline Story brings you all things sports related. The hottest topics, latest events, juiciest stories, all with a very personal take. Subscribe to Sideline Story podcast for heated sports discussions covering events that are happening in China and around the world.
45 minutes past the hour. Away from high-level discussions and negotiations, the urgent need to cut emissions has emerged as a recurring theme in many speeches at the UN COP29 climate conference in Azerbaijan. As one of the world's largest carbon emitters, China has pledged to peak its CO2 emissions before 2030 and achieve carbon neutrality by 2060. To delve into China's journey toward sustainable development, we bring you a 9-part special report titled Greener China, A Journey to 2060. Today, Yang presents the first episode, Ecological Restoration, Growing Awareness Among Chinese People.
The population of Shitanjing has dropped to the hundreds from 130,000 in the 1990s.
The town of Shitanjing, which means oil, is located on the northern part of Henan Mountains in northwest China's Ningxiahui Autonomous Region. Ecosystem. All life on Earth. A healthy ecosystem acts as a natural carbon sink, with forests, wetlands, and marine habitats capturing and storing carbon dioxide in biomass, soil, and sediment. Experts emphasize the crucial role of water in this process. So we went to water-starved northwest China in August to get a snapshot of the conditions regarding ecological restoration in the country. As we entered the town in the afternoon, the first thing we noticed was rows of two-story terraced houses with rusty window frames and grass sprouting from the roof. Most of them seem abandoned. Further along, we came across shops, video theaters, and a barber shop, all looking like they're from the time of my childhood 30 years ago. This area used to be one of China's most important coal fields. 62-year-old Gu Yiheng was born here after her parents moved to the place in the 1960s when coal mines mushroomed on a large scale.
With the development of coal mines, the town became so popular in the 1990s that it was known as Little Hong Kong. You could buy anything you want here. People were rich, and many relatives came to join them for better living.
This prosperity, however, also came with environmental issues.
In
the past, the air was thick with pollution. As soon as you arrived, your clothes would be covered in dust, as if you just come out of a coal mine.
咱全是洗煤厂，就是小的时候记得来的时候就是一片黑。
Coal luxuries were scattered almost everywhere. The town used to have only two colors, black and brown. Black from the coal and brown from the tailing rocks. The sky would turn black whenever a sandstorm hit.
Did people have any sense of ecological protection? No, it seems we got accustomed to the rocks and mountains. We paid little attention to the surrounding ecology.
China has undergone rapid economic growth since its opening up over 4 decades ago. In recent years, the country has greatly enhanced its focus on environmental protection. In 2016, the Chinese government launched the Shanshui Initiative, a plan to restore 10 million hectares of natural landscapes, ranging from mountains to coastal estuaries, through 75 large-scale restoration projects by 2030. In the same year, China initiated its regular nationwide patrol on environmental protection. It was around the same time that Ningxia began regulating mining activities along the Helan Mountains. The local people recollected.
Shitanjing began to close the mines in 2015.
All mines without legal procedures were closed.
It has affected the interests of many miners. Many were reluctant to leave the town. Some cried. Shitanjing gradually lost its prosperity.
They told me they got compensation from the government.
The workers were dispatched to mines in other places in Ningxia.
煤矿停了以后，他们反而说参与到这个刺激当中来了。
Some transferred to ecological protection-related posts, like afforestation.
按这个承诺。
Yu Yang from the local Department of Natural Resources added that Ningxia has been exploring the development of other industries.
比如说葡萄酒厂房的建设。
We are extending grape cultivation and wine production along the Helan Mountains. Tourism is also promoted in the region.
不太深刻吧，但是
Hu Wei is a researcher at Northwest Institute of Eco Environment and Resources under the Chinese Academy of
政
Sciences.
策呢和宣传比较大，所以大家也从新闻上呀各个方面能了解吧。可能他们
In recent years, the country has expanded efforts to raise public awareness of ecological and environmental protection.
环境也美好了。
And also environment is bad for your health.
每年的这个什么环境日啊，我们都搞主题活动，参加一些活
The
动。
community holds events on environment days. We didn't do garbage sorting in the past. Now it's different.
新年好，再见。
Living in a good environment makes you happy.
The local enterprises, while managing the costs in every possible aspect, also ensure that their investments in ecology are worthwhile. Yuan Hui used to run a gravel pit. Now he's the owner of Yunshi Vineyard, a private winemaking company.
When people make ends meet, they start seeking more spiritual fulfillment. It would be odd if humans were the only ones living on Earth. It's sweet to hear birds chirping, right?
Liu Hui is from the state-owned Meihua-Jing coal mine in northeast Ningxia.
感觉到受投这么多钱，感觉吃不饱苦。
We doubted our efforts in environmental restoration at first because it was very costly. But now we find it encouraging to see the area transformed into a green space. Staff can relax here after work, and more wildlife has been returning.
Departments dedicated to the environmental protection have been established not only in government but also in enterprises, particularly in state-owned companies.
不理解的也很多，然后
There were a handful of people who initially didn't understand the move. They eventually shifted their mindsets after witnessing significant improvements in their living environment.
当年对这山有点损失，损害过现在那没时候有我的一份。
I was one of those miners. Now I work in vegetation restoration.
父母来的，都是我们18年出去的老人。
Those seniors who used to work in Shifanjing returned here often, and they would marvel at the improvements.
As one of the few natives, Ge Yihong often works as a volunteer tour guide in her spare time. She also grows vegetables and shares the produce with tourists.
The local ecology is turning much better. It was impossible to grow veggies in the past.
现在种的西红柿，这个黄西红柿。
Shifanjing, once known as Little Hangan, is transforming into a booming location, with few visitors around when we visit it during the summer break. Currently, its population is around 300, with daily visitors peaking at about 3,000.
我还是希望他能早早的发展起来，还像我们过去的小香港一样的发展。
I hope our town will recover its prosperity in the near future.
While I'm telling the story of a mining town in northwest China, I must point out that ecological restoration is not only for mining areas. An expert told us that it refers to the recovering process of any ecosystem that's been damaged.
There are also other factors to consider, such as water pollution and land degradation.
This reminds me of herders on degraded grassland on Qinghai Xizang Plateau when we visited them back in 2021.
My grassland couldn't fill the stomachs of my yaks and sheep anymore.
When we revisited them again in April this year, those herders were working closely with the government to restore their grassland. The Hooray pointed out that most people's understanding of ecological restoration is still limited.
We should keep planting trees, one generation after another.
自然这种东西，你做错了决定，还是
Human intervention can't restore damaged ecosystems. It's like how medicine does little to cure a common cold compared to natural recovery.
我们一般来讲就是就是让它恢复它的生态功能，就正常的运作，系统循环起来。用通俗的话讲就是。
The aim is to restore the ecosystem's natural function and get it